It's been more than 10 years since I started in IT industry as a HR. And like most of us, I came from a tier 2 city and was not aware of the know-hows of the corporate because I haven't been to one ever. So today I want to share a few lessons that I learned along the way. Some I learned really hard way. So remember all these lessons and you will save yourself from so much trouble. So let's begin. This video is powered by Keka. And the first one, and pretty interesting one, no one is your friend there, even if they sound so or display so. That is very important. As a newbie, you might feel that the person is quite friendly and is always with me, so it's very obvious that we both are friends, and then you exchange a lot of conversations about your personal stuff as well. For God's sake, do not share your personal information. For example, what are your education plans? What are your further growth plans? When you are getting married on and all of that stuff. Why? I'll give you one example just so that you understand. Say, for example, you simply shared with your so-called friend that you're planning to do an MBA or maybe master's in anything, any field, and that's your growth plan. And then there happens to be a very interesting project or opportunity in your team, and your manager gets to know from your friend that you are anyways going to leave for your master's, so there's no point in sharing the opportunity with you. Then what will happen? You will lose out on a very big opportunity which would have given you so much growth, because sometimes we share things very casually. We might not have figured out the plan yet and we share it with people, and then those conversations can literally take away huge opportunities from you. So treat everybody well, respect everyone, but remember, no one is your friend. So do not share your personal stuff with anyone. Next on the list is again a very important point, and that is do not hop on projects basis the assumption that you got from your colleague, your friend, and whosoever. Let's take an example again. So let's say two of you joined together and you both were fresher, beginner out of college. Your friend or whoever joined with you got a project A, you got a project B. Now this person is really happy with the project and is really happy with his life. The manager, the team, the project, everything seems really good for him, and every single time you meet this guy, he's the most happiest person. While on the other hand, you're struggling, you don't know what to do, you're trying to figure out things, you already do not like your manager, your colleagues, and everything around you. And there's so much workload, you're wondering what the hell on the earth has happened, why this guy has minimal work, is enjoying his life, and why am I stuck in such a place? Now understand this, guys. Your friend might be on a project that has a very minimal value and do not require much effort. You, on the other hand, might be on a project which is very important, require a lot of effort, but has a very high market value. And if in your innocence or stupidity, I don't know what to call it, I also have done similar mistakes. So it's not only you alone. I have also learned things the hard way. And in your stupidity or innocence, if you reach out to somebody, HR or somebody else, and you say that I want to jump to that particular project, I'm not happy here, and 3 years down the line you realize, oh my god, that was the biggest mistake of my life. The project, the team, the work that I got first is of immense value. If I could grind my first few years there, my life would have been totally different by now, and the earnings would be 10 times more. Why? Because the market value of the task or the project is so do not draw conclusions basis the perception of others or what others present to you. Do your own homework. Now in this case, I gave example where the projects were pole apart and things like that, but there can be a case where the projects are same and the other guy simply has a nature of getting through things pretty easily and has a very positive nature and always talk good about the things they are into. On the other hand, you might be on a similar thing, but you have a nature where you always crib about things, how difficult are things, how hard are things, and you are not willing to put in enough effort. So that can be the case totally. So do not jump onto conclusions basis what other display. Do your own due diligence if you really want to grow in your career. Next lesson on the list is nothing is permanent. Not even your permanent job, your full-time job, that's not permanent. In India especially, we have this perception where we label a contractor job, non-full-time job, we label it lower than a full-time job, a permanent job just because of the fact that employer can remove the contractor and that person anytime when the project is getting over. But let me tell you honestly, the reality is not very different for full-time employees. These days, firing employees and letting employees go is very common. Let me give you a reality check with an example which as a HR I have seen happening many times. Say for example, the company is on losing trend and is kind of losing most of its clients, and there comes a point where the important project is about to go. They are about to lose that project. Now on that project there are contractors and there are permanent employees. Now, obviously, you'll think that the company will let go of the contractor to save their permanent employees, but that's not always the case. The company lay off the permanent employee because that's a recurring cost. That's a continuous cost. Company has to pay to the employee every single month, has to pay for their benefits, insurance, and other things. There are so many expenses related to an employee. So they lay off the employee, they fire the permanent employee, and they keep in touch with the contractor employee just in case the work comes back. Why? Because that contract employee is not a liability. It's not someone to whom they have to pay regularly, pay to the benefits and other things. It just work and pay. If there will be work, they'll give to that person and then just pay. So do not assume you are any better if you are a permanent employee in terms of security of the job, because that's not the reality anymore. Now the next lesson on the list is very important, and it is important for experienced people as well, because I've seen a lot of people suffering from it, and till date I get messages from people to how to get out of these situations once they are stuck. So the lesson is that do not ever leave without full and final settlement, guys. If you really want that experience to be counted, please always resign properly. At least from your end, you should send a resignation email. Do not abscond. Writing a simple resignation mail doesn't take much. People say that, oh, we left because of the toxic culture, toxic manager. All that is fine, but you should resign from your position. There's no point in absconding and disappearing just like that. You should have proofs with you which shows that you resigned and you expected a proper relieving, but company didn't give it to you. So you should have all that evidence. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for you in the background verifications. And nowadays, more and more companies, even smaller companies, are also doing full-fledged background verification, and it's not that they'll come to you for an explanation and then you can explain how toxic the culture was, how toxic the manager was. Nobody will give you a chance to explain. One discrepancy, they will not even share the report, and they might not even say that your background verification was negative. You'll simply not get the offer, or if you have got the offer, it will be withdrawn. And even if you have joined, you will be asked to leave. As simple as that. So guys, please, if possible, try to leave only after full and final settlement. Next lesson on the list is delay your aggressive response. Now, everybody, including me, everybody faces some kind of shit in their careers. I mean, there's a situation where you know the other person is not talking right, and you just want to give your peace of mind to that person, and you want to teach a lesson then and there, and you want to shout and do what not. But please, guys, this lesson is that delay your aggression. Hold on your anger for a little while. Why? It helps you calm down. It helps you think about the situation, whatever has happened, from a different perspective, and then you can respond either via email or in a meeting, in a conversation where you have invited other people as well, if you want to clarify to multiple people, and then you can put your points more clearly with more evidences. In that anger, in that desperation of teaching the other person a lesson, you might not win the case because you'll not have solid, thoughtful points to say in that aggression in that very moment. So delay your aggression a little bit and it will for sure play in your favor. Now, I'm not saying that just leave the person, leave the situation, spare them and just keep quiet. No, you do whatever you want to do. You want to teach a lesson, you want to give them back, whatever. But do it after some time. It will help you think through the situation in a detailed way, and then whatever response you give will have more impact. Now, the next lesson on the list is you can be replaced by anybody, anytime, especially your junior. Now, listen to this very carefully. When people reach a certain level, they associate it with their ego. They stop upscaling themselves, they stop learning, they stop enhancing their skills because they think that now they have become expert in what they do and further upscaling is not required because they know everything. And that approach can get you fired any day, and you will be shocked that what has just happened. How can a random guy who has half the experience than mine is sitting on my position and is doing my job? How unfair is that? But remember, if you are a senior, your cost to the company is really high, and if you have stopped learning further, stopped adding value to the business, then the day is very near when somebody else with less cost to the company will replace you. So do not live in that perception that you know it all. Never become outdated in your industry, especially if you are in a technical role. Always be so crisp, so ready with your knowledge that if today you have to leave and find a new job, then you should be capable of doing that. Otherwise, it's going to be really difficult if you keep sitting in your comfort zone. Then you'll simply waste your time sitting and blaming the company or maybe your manager. Next lesson on the list is quite debatable. I am not sure how many of you will resonate with it, but it is building rapport in corporate, I mean with anybody, is not equal to doing politics. Like a lot of us, including me when I started my career, if I saw someone building rapport, talking with important people from management, or getting updates and know-hows of what's coming in, and there were people who were always updated, and whenever I saw them talking with the managers and important people, I always assumed, oh, they are into all that politics. But guys, building rapport, talking, communicating with people is not politics. That's not playing games. So if you see somebody who's getting promotion after promotion, who's doing really well growth-wise in his or her job, and you see them often talking to the manager or the management, or you find that they're always updated with the new technology, what's coming up in the company, they have all the information. So mind you guys, this is not because they are doing the politics, it's because they are putting effort in their growth, they are putting effort in building their rapport. There's a lot of difference in politics and building rapport. Now, obviously, there are people who do politics everywhere, in companies, outside companies also, in families also, you'll find people who do politics. Building rapport is a different thing. So never let that opportunity go where you can build rapport with someone important or to whom you look up to grow in your career. Do not think that it's politics or it's bad thing. Just communicating with someone doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong or people will judge you for doing that. Please do not shy away from that, and do not judge people who are doing that. In fact, try to learn from them, because that's the way you grow. That's the way you learn from those people who are ahead from you. Only when you speak to them, you see what they are doing, what they are up to, what's coming up, how you can prepare yourself for the future opportunities. So all of that happens only when you build rapport with the right people, you communicate and you start learning from them. So that's a very important difference, and you must adopt the skill of building rapport very early on in your career if you want to grow fast. Next lesson on the list is good communication is not only about good English. Make sure that you do not keep any communication gap in your work life. Now, what does communication gap means? It means that whatever you are doing or whatever you are up to, your manager should be updated about it, or whoever is concerned should be updated about it. If you are going on leave, especially early in your career, your leave should be updated directly to your manager. You should speak to your manager and say you are not able to make it to work for whatever reason. It should not reach your manager via your colleague or a friend who joined along with you. Do not do that. And if you're facing any difficulty at your work and you want to say something, you want to ask for help, then reach out to your manager. Do not keep a gap. Tomorrow, if they rate you as a poor performer and then you say that I didn't get any help, that's of no use, because you didn't open up, you didn't fill that gap, you didn't give the feedback or ask for the help which was required. So please do not keep any kind of gap. These are just few scenarios example I gave. There can be numerous examples of communication gap, and even I myself have suffered because of this, because of keeping communication gap, because I didn't know any better. I thought that's how things work. But update your manager for every single thing that you're doing, which is on your plate, which is your responsibility day to day. While most of us will argue that the manager by default knows what we are up to, what we are doing, what are our responsibilities, but that might not be the case. Manager has their own set of responsibilities, and you might have got additional work from another manager or somebody else, so your manager is not aware of that. So make sure you keep him or her in the loop, and at any given point of time they should have 100% update of what you are up to. Otherwise you'll limit your growth. Next lesson on the list is do not burn the bridges behind you. I think this is one thing that I've repeated so many times in my other videos as well, and it's still worth mentioning because guys, your network is very important. You started working and you worked with so many people. Tomorrow when you go somewhere else, and if you let those connects go, or you leave on a bitter note that you cannot reach out to these people back in future, that's a huge mistake that you're doing. Because when it comes to having a successful career, your network is everything. Today you might be leaving on a bitter note because you have got a fancy job somewhere else and you want to show them that I don't need you guys anymore. But you never know, that fancy job may last like 3 months, 4 months. So if you have a good rapport with your past employer, or you have network, you can still manage to get something. If there is something, some opportunity, you can save yourself. Because let's be honest, we all have EMIs to pay, financial responsibilities, we have to take care of so many people in our life. We cannot take things so casually, and you shouldn't, because you have worked so many years, put so much effort, and while leaving, if you're ruining all those connections, you're ruining your network, it's not worth it. And never ever let those small aggressive conversation ruin your connection, because you have worked so hard to build that kind of network. So do not burn the bridges behind you. Leave on a good note, no matter from where you are leaving, because these connections, this network will pay you off your whole life. Now closing with the last lesson, which is do not take your office home. To be very honest, I myself is pretty guilty of this one. So many times I took the aggression back home. If things didn't work out well in office, I took that sadness to home, frustration to home, lot of scenarios to home, even work to home. We all take, but it's not a very good thing to do. From my journey so far, I can tell you that it doesn't help you in any way. By the time you will realize that it's impacting you and your health, there would be a damage done by then, which would be very hard to reverse. So do not take that home. You already spend like 10-12 hours in your office or doing your office work, commuting. So you're already spending more than half of your life doing that stuff. So whatever hours are left, just dedicate those hours to something else. Your office is not worth its sheer wastage of time. That's what I can say from my journey, and it will impact your emotional and mental well-being, because as a human you deserve a break. You deserve boundaries. There should be set boundaries. You should know that now the work zone is finished. Now it's your personal life. It's time for your personal life or something that you love doing. So set boundaries and do not take your office to home. That was quite a lot of talking. So let's quickly take a look on the summary of today's video. Make sure you take a closer look and you remember these lessons and you live by them, implement them in your life, and you see a positive change in your work life. So with that, we came to the end of this video. I really hope these things helps you some way in your career, in your life. And with that, I'm signing off. You keep on watching more content on the Corporate Diaries to be corporate ready, and I'll see you in my next one. Till then, stay safe and healthy. Take care.